We played a real game today. I mean, sort of real game. It was a
Realish.
friendly, but it was a match. The U.S. suited up today for the first time since the abysmal failure in Trinidad, and the result
Nice of
was
Portugal to make us feel more welcome by wearing our other uniforms.
there was one point, I'm not going to lie, early on in the game where I got confused as to who I was watching, and I started to somebody in for Portugal did something. I'm like, ooh, that's oh wait, no, that's not us, because yeah, the same uniforms, but yeah, it was it was fine. It was a 1-1 draw. Saw some good things. We saw some bad things. And like we said in the weeks leading up to this match, nothing you really saw today you needed to take as too big of a deal. Whether we won or lost or draw or whoever did what, it needs to be bigger picture at this point. But I will say, go Weston McKennie.
Yeah, if for those people hoping or wishing he had played in the games a month ago, the hype train just got a little bit bigger. It just got a little
Yeah.
bit, just get a few more cars behind
Yeah.
it.
The I told you so train got a little bit
Yeah,
bigger because
yeah.
he is good. He's definitely good enough to have been on this team. And I will say, watching them, like you don't know what was going on. We talked about this with Bobby Warshaw. You don't know what's going on in people's heads or what, just based purely on the eye test, watching on TV. They played with a lot more urgency today than they did when the World Cup was on the line. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's two different groups of players almost entirely, but it was a lot more fun and refreshing watching these guys. And the pressure was off. Obviously, there was no pressure, but unless you're trying to
Well,
win a spot. But
to a certain extent, there's no pressure. I mean, for coming into their very first cap, there's pressure
oh, yeah,
there.
yeah,
Like,
I'm
realistically,
sure
yeah,
even Horvath
you're,
felt a little bit of pressure
yeah,
after
yeah, ouch.
that.
Um, yeah, I felt, God, I thought he was gonna cry. Like the look on his face after that happened, I felt bad for him. Not
I
just the
mean, you
fact that, yeah, you just screwed us over, but like, dude, ouch. That,
you got to believe that he was kind of the front runner, if there was one, to take
yeah,
over for Guzan and Howard. And I don't think that mistake should cost him
no,
anything. But
I
Bill
mean,
Hamid was better,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
No, I saw this game for him as a chance to sort of settle his nerves or, give him a new opportunity to for his team to kind of reevaluate or something because he has essentially lost his starting job now. The coach has said that it's a three-way match for the starting spot for the keeper, and he's not the number one lock anymore. So his mistakes have kind of cost him there, and then to come in here
mhm.
and make such an over the top egregious mistake, yeah, it certainly makes you, um, I don't know, hope he gets his shit together in his head because that's more of a mental error than anything. I mean, when you're making a diving save like that, it's not exactly easy to put your body behind the ball. That could happen to anyone. He probably took his eye off the ball or something. He was looking at what he was going to do with it after he made the save or something. And,
That's
you
the
know,
that's the thing. That's the mistake is the what am I going to do next?
yeah,
And that's a common like thing in sports. What am I going to do with the ball next? And you don't
yeah,
actually take the time to receive the ball. Maybe that was it. Maybe
yeah.
there was something on his gloves. Who knows? Maybe I mean, but that was terrible. That was unacceptable. Luckily, it was a friendly in Portugal against a B Portugal side. But whatever. It's it that wasn't good, and it doesn't instill a lot of confidence either. And when the race for our national team keeper job is as wide open as it's been since I've been following the team, um, you don't want to make mistakes like that, even if it isn't a friendly. So, but we'll see. Um, I was kind of
You
hoping.
definitely have to say this team could have beaten Trinidad and Tobago.
I saw a lot of that on Twitter.
I don't want to be a dick about it because it's different circumstances. It's a different coach. Everything about it, the weight of the game is different. What you're playing for is different. Realistically, look, Horvath screwed himself over tonight, but in a year, does that matter? No.
No, yeah.
Yeah, Hamid looked better, but in many ways, Hamid is playing for his career too here. So,
Hmm.
they both have something major to play for. He's still very young. In a year, it's not going to matter. It probably won't even be remembered. Maybe it will because who the hell knows what we'll be playing unless we do play the He Believes Cup, the He Believes NIT. Uh, so, it's not. I'm not going to call it like a career-ending mistake. It was stupid, but whatever. He'll come back from it,
Um,
presumably.
I thought I saw that a lot on Twitter. This team would have beaten Trinidad. I mean, you don't know with the World Cup on the line if they would have, but
Exactly.
I would bet on it. I think
They
they would have,
definitely. I mean, they looked like they had. They looked like they were a team that had something to play for.
especially if you threw in Pulisic. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, that's
I
neither
mean,
here nor
there
there.
were a lot of things that still. It was a promising game in terms of you saw what you wanted to see from it, but there were also a lot of things that were still lacking. I mean, there wasn't a lot of team cohesion, I would say. I mean, yes, there were things like players across the field were playing defense. Guys even on offense weren't just leaving it and going like, somebody else will take care of it. But there were places where there clearly could have been better instances of players working together. There were times when there were players taking guys on one when they could have made a pass instead. And these are things that, if this was a true like meaningful game format, maybe they don't do that. Maybe they look to the easy pass. Maybe they look to lay the ball off and then make a run and have a give and go or something that allows them to run into the space as opposed to like making it happen on their own. But when it's something like this, you want to see what individual guys can do. And so there were instances where there were, one-on-one take-ons that maybe weren't the smartest thing to do and didn't turn out the way we want them to. But based on the game, you want to see that happen because you want to see what they can do.
Yeah.
So there are completely different circumstances. I can't say 100%, oh, this team would have beaten Trinidad and Tobago. Having said that, they showed enough talent out there and they're good enough. It's a disgrace that our previous team couldn't beat TNT.
I
So
would say that team would have beaten Trinidad and Tobago 9 times out of 10, maybe.
yeah,
But a little bit of luck and a little lack of, I think I think it was a combination of some bad luck to start that match, and then with a bit of overconfidence of that team was overly confident and should not have been, and that's what I think ended up biting us in the ass. In addition to some iffy tactics from now Fox Sports One commentator Bruce Arena. It was uncomfortable. I didn't need him there.
I I was surprised he was there, and I kind of was hoping Lawless would grill him.
He indirectly did on the one question about the lack of motivation at halftime, or why was this team a lot more motivated than our last time out, something like that. And then Bruce kind of gritted his teeth, and that was it. But yeah, if he's gonna be there, and I would not have put it past Alexi to just. You're either gonna get one of the other things with Alexi. You're gonna get him just lighting him up for the show of it, or kind of going along and towing the company
He's going to
line.
be one. He's going to be one of the two sides of Don King. It's whether this is your boxer Don King or this is you are the promoter Don King. So who are you running the PR train on? And I was wondering which way he was going to go when he was silent in the beginning and just kind of staring at his own notes. I was thinking like, ooh, this could be interesting, but it never really got there because yeah, in the beginning Bruce definitely looked nervous like Bruce really in a media setting. Usually he's just an asshole.
Yeah, I think there's probably a bit of shame a bit of
I mean,
like
yeah, there's embarrassment.
you see
This is the
coworkers
end of
after you've
your
been
national team
fired.
career, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to go out for your. This is really your first big appearance, and you more or less got fired because you screwed everything up for our entire country on this. So yeah, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I understand why he would be nervous. I would be nervous as hell in that instance. But I don't know. I was kind of hoping Alexi would be showman Alexi and use his brand kind of over Bruce's, just to see what would happen.
Also, should note that I can't remember if you wanted Michael O'Neill or Martin O'Neill, but
Martin O'Neill.
both of the Irish O'Neills are now out and available. So if the U.S. is looking to make a move sooner rather than later, those guys are now probably going to be unemployed, I assume, having missed the World Cup, but you never know.
Martin O'Neill's been with Ireland for 5 years now.
Has he?
He's been there a while, so I mean, it's not unheard of that he could stay. But yeah, you have to expect. But again, that goes back to my comment about
Ian Dark was saying we were talking to the Northern Irish O'Neill as well.
Hmm?
So, yeah, why do that now? Why?
Yeah.
Why? It doesn't need to happen. But you can wait until after the World Cup at least. So, your guy it'll become clear who your guy is. And I don't know that it's clear yet. I think either one of those Irish O'Neills would be fine. And I don't know that it's totally.
I think there are plenty of other options right now too. I mean, I brought him up as someone I wanted to see manage the current, like our previous iteration here. And I don't expect. I could sidetrack this a little bit by discussing the possible SNIT in terms of who will get called up for that, and then maybe we need a different kind of coach. But the hope for me, anyway, is that we stick with a youth roster like this, in which case we need to look at a program that's going to build things. We don't necessarily need to look at a manager who's going to effectively run a defense or build a back four that is impenetrable. We don't need to worry about that stuff right now. We need to worry about making this entire team better, and who maximizes their capabilities.
Also had my notes the humor that Danny Williams was left completely out of the Hex roster and captained the team today.
What really made me laugh was I literally wrote it down, and then Stuart Holden said it on air too, and I was like, "Yeah, what the hell is this? Like, he can't even make the team for a year. Like, he wasn't at all around in the Hex, and yet here he is, the captain. Like, it didn't even go to Acosta."
No, and which makes me wonder, with Sarakin being a Bruce assistant, you kind of thought he'd be in lockstep with Bruce, but maybe all that time he was like, why the fuck isn't this guy calling up Danny Williams? And he wanted to make a point by not only calling him in, but making him captain. I don't know, but I'm glad that he did. So yeah, he can stick around for a while. I mean, we had him here in Chicago for a while. He was fine. They had some success. But I'd rather somebody bigger and bolder as our head coach, but maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe that's not the problem.
I'm with you, Dominic, that why not wait until after the World Cup? What difference does it make at this point? Wait until after the World Cup, see who's available. I don't see any point in making a choice before at least May/June, because you want to let the European leagues finish and see what you get there, or see who's available there. But then on top of it, you also have the World Cup immediately afterwards. Why wouldn't you wait until the end of summer? I mean, short of he believes, who cares?
Yeah, that brings up this. So our guy Alex joked about it a month ago in a tweet, which I retweeted. And then we talked about it sort of jokingly, like a lot of people did. There's a lot of good teams that can make a pretty good NIT type tournament. And then now they're seriously talking about it. I mean, there's cash to be made, so it makes sense. But here's my big question. Like, it was funny as a joke. And yeah, there's some high quality teams that we could bring here, assuming we would be the ones to host it. This seems right up our alley, though. But one, I don't know when you play it because you can't. You have to wait till the club season's over, and you can't overlap with the World Cup. It has to be played
And
before.
Champions League, I looked it up. I know we talked about it. I think it's the 26th of May. I mean, it is like it's
You could do a
not even three
four-team
full
thing
weeks.
over the
Sure.
course of a week, but
Yeah.
so that begs
I
the
mean, it's
question:
not.
would you go? Like, there's
I'm
the
certainly interested.
if it was in
Um,
Chicago, would you drive down? Versus,
if oh, yeah, I mean, if it's in Chicago, yeah,
are
yeah,
we
then
traveling
of
for this
course.
thing?
Am I traveling? It might depend on who the players are who are taking part. Like if Robin and Alexis aren't going to be there, guys who I may have seen before, but I want to see play, then maybe not. If they're not there, I certainly lose interest. If we do something like go bring up Bradley and Dempsey and Altidore,
No, we're not.
uh,
No,
to me, no, I don't. And as I've said, no love lost for Bradley here. I just don't see the point in bringing these guys who are over age at this point back to the team. And to me, if Dempsey ever gets called up again and scores, his record should come with an asterisk on it because I think it's an artificial record then. He didn't play in. He was essentially brought in just to score that goal, and that's ridiculous. I
yeah,
think bad luck. Sorry, you don't set the new record. You're forever tied.
yeah. For me, it would. I don't know that I'm traveling to see it, but if it was here, I would probably go. It would maybe. I mean, I probably would go. Who are we kidding? But it would. If I would travel, it would probably depend on the opponent and who is playing for the opponent, like you said. Um, I
Yeah,
mean that and then yeah, I don't want to see stale U.S. players anymore. I want
I mean,
new.
if I can go to Chicago, St. Louis, Nashville, I'm not opposed to these things. Like, if it's someplace I would go anyway, and then I can go see this, yeah, of course I'd go. I mean, realistically, I don't have anything else to go do. I'm without games to attend for 2 years. That's not to say I wouldn't attend a women's game. I mean, there are those in there, but realistically, like, where's my absolute heart? It's the men's team here, and it's nearly 2 years before we're going to see a real meaningful game. So, um, hey, my calendar's open.
You got to do something. Yeah, I've got that Germany Brazil match coming up in March that I'm going to. That's not bad. The Speaking of the men's team, our next game is going to be the Camp Cupcake match in Los Angeles against Bosnia. I think it was. I think it was Bosnia. And tickets are $28 for American Outlaw seats. So the obviously the supply and demand at issue there, and things have come way down in price, which is actually refreshing to see. I will tell
I
you that
kind of feel like
my Germany Brazil tickets were 25 euros. So it was like 29.50 at that day that I bought them in the exchange rate. Seriously. Brazil Germany in a friendly or US Bosnia in a friendly. US Bosnia was slightly more expensive. Ridiculous.
I
Still.
kind of feel like anyone who could produce a ticket stub from any of the Hex games, at least maybe any of this qualification round, should get at least one free game from U.S. Soccer. I mean,
Yes.
I still feel like U.S. Soccer owes us something
And a
because we
free
paid
donut.
through
Don't
the
get me wrong.
nose, and what do we have to show for it?
Yep. We saw shit in the Gold Cup, although they
Yeah,
ended up winning it. Um, they produced a jersey that they did not sell at normal human prices.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and then they overcharged us for, I mean, what was really an inferior product on the field. Yeah, I'm with you. They're not going to even come close to selling that game out anyway. So if you're in LA and you've got a ticket stub from the Hex, that should be a thing. You should be let
Yeah.
in.
There should be some kind of thank you fans notice Because I'm sorry, something to hear from, you know, I know what you're laughing at. I'm laughing at it too.
Anonymity. That was good.
Yes. Uh,
He's gonna do like
yeah, I
a
mean,
Louis C.K. display.
just something
Just watch
uh,
this.
from Bruce Arena or some of the players afterwards saying, "Oh yeah, we know we let the fans down, blah blah blah." Great, thanks, but I think the organization needs to do something, and I think Sunil's been too busy like figuring out how to collect his power.
I also want to ask this along the same lines of the NIT. With all the teams that have missed, with the Netherlands and with Italy, that's obviously a gigantic one, a former world champion, with Chile, um, some Ghana, some really awesome teams missed the World Cup. Does it make you feel any better?
I
Oh, did we lose you? Did he freeze? I wanted to find out what he was going to say to that, but I think he just froze there. So, um, can you guys still see me? Let me know if you can still see me. My thought on that is this. Um, it doesn't, because we all know that CONCACAF qualifying is weak compared to the rest of the world. Are you back? You froze there for a second.
Yeah, you froze to me too, and
Oh,
it's frozen apparently in the video that I'm watching
okay.
our notes go by, so comments go by.
Yeah,
So
what
yeah,
I was answering, yeah, it doesn't make me feel better. I mean, seeing Italy, both of us don't like Italy because of the 2006 World Cup. I mean, what happened there. Um,
and their string of cheating,
uh, yeah, but
nonstop cheating,
I enjoyed seeing them miss,
constant cheating.
but um, it doesn't change the fact that we came from the weakest
Yeah,
confederation and missed. We finished fifth in essentially a 6-team tournament.
yeah,
And like you pointed out, people forget we barely made the damn hex. We had to win
yeah,
our last whatever it was, win or draw. We needed results at the end to get into it.
yeah.
This was a problem for a long time. So, um,
Maybe it was me because I've lost all access to our show. Um, maybe it was my internet here. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, a year and a half ago when I was in Columbus, a year and a half ago, yeah, it was. I guess a little over that now. That game in March, I think, was Guatemala. We were not confident going into that game. Like I was pretty subdued ahead of that game because I was like, I don't want to dress up ridiculously. I don't want to do anything because I don't want to have to deal with if this game goes sour. I'm going to be pissed off afterwards, and then I'm going to feel like a fool standing out dressed like an idiot, and I'm going to want to break things.
yeah, as I remember it too, I was in London for that game, which is why I didn't attend. But um, that was not a good crowd.
The Columbus Guatemala game, not the game in Guatemala, which
Right.
was terrible.
Right.
The one in Columbus, I see
Yeah. It was
Dominic's
Christian Pulisic's
comment.
debut, was it
Yes, it
not?
was. Yeah.
There's
Yep.
something
And
to be said for that.
that game, hey, we were good. That game turned into something fun, and exciting, and everyone was cheering for Pulisic before we even knew how to pronounce his name for sure. And then yeah, he came in. Yeah,
Anonymity cracks me up.
Italy. Italy should be good at swimming. They're good divers. True.
Um, all right. We should also probably talk about this Players Tribune thing that Christian Pulisic wrote, because it was good.
Indeed.
I felt it was.
Yeah.
Obviously those things are. I don't know that Pulisic is that good of a writer. Maybe he is, but maybe it was heavily edited or ghostwritten or whoever. I know they have ghostwriters on staff of that thing, the Derek Jeter operation, which I think is a cool thing. But he made some really good points, and the biggest takeaway for me was this idea that we already have the talent to do it. It's just a matter of getting the talent to be properly developed. And when you're 16 and you can go to Dortmund because you have a Croatian passport, you're put in a way better situation to develop than you are when you're 16 and you have to stay at FC Dallas because UEFA won't let you go to Europe because you don't have a European passport. And is there a way around that? Is there a way to get UEFA to change that rule so that people can come sooner? Is there a way to make get FIFA involved? is there something else we should be doing besides having these guys develop at club teams or MLS teams or college when they could be playing in Europe, but they can't because of the passport rule? How do we do this? Because he's right. I bet you we would see a very different Christian Pulisic if he was on the Philadelphia Union or something, because he had to stay here. So, how do we get our players there sooner when they don't have access to an EU passport?
Yeah, that's another thing that I think, Sunil should be on top of. He should be trying to find a way to either get the US some kind of I don't know, pass to come in, or get CONCACAF or get FIFA to pressure UEFA, or all the conferences to allow greater movement amongst them. I know some of this is about work visas and things, so some of it is an international thing, but nonetheless, FAs have been shown to have a fair amount of power around the world when they put it to their political use. So there is, I think, an opportunity to do something here, or perhaps to affect some kind of change that, would allow players to have a chance at maybe 16. Why is it that, just because you're in Croatia, or have some connection to there, and I mean, come on, if all it is your grandparents had to be there, well,
that's
you could
absurd.
be anywhere in the world at this point. Yeah. It is. I understand that. Okay, if you go too far, anything could be the case, but it does come down to, there are, I don't know, where does the rule need to be? Where does the guideline need to be? And is there a way to get a better, get greater access for our guys, our players?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I mean, no kidding. Apple juice, pay them off. Yeah.
If you're UEFA, though, what's the if you're the EU, why change it? Because it only benefits you to decrease competition and make your guys get the best development they can during that age. And that's it's a problem for us that we're going to have to find a way to overcome.
France doesn't want to benefit Germany. England doesn't want to benefit France. There are tons of countries within UEFA that would have no problem screwing over another country. Why is it this is the time that they'll all band together?
Yeah,
but whatever. Now we're getting into like international politics and things. So
yeah, so that was a big takeaway for me, and I also liked just some of the stuff about his sort of maniacal drive to succeed. It takes people like that. It's if you're going to maximize who you are, and he seemed to take issue with he even said the Wonder Boy comment, because he's not some sort of just gifted kid who didn't work for it. He says he worked for it. He put in the work, and he battled and battled and battled, and to call him Wonder Boy takes away from the fact that he put in the work for it, and did go to Europe and did sit in those. He talks about, not in this piece, but in other pieces, he's talked about sitting in German classes, not understanding what was going on and being kind of scared and away from home. And eventually, he on the field became better. Off the field, he speaks what appears to be fluent German and has won the fans over. And he's been successful across the board because he was willing to take this giant chance, but it's not a chance that everybody can take, that everybody's allowed to take. That said, after reading that, I am 100% on board with him as our captain. I know he's young, and I know typically, at least with soccer teams, captains aren't made that young. The hockey teams will do it. Jonathan Taves was captain of the racially insensitive cup team that I'm drinking out of when he was 20 or 21. So it's if you show that level of leadership quality, you should be the captain. And as the best player, the biggest star, and a person who's succeeded more than anybody else, he should be wearing the armband for us going forward, in my view. But we shall see. So, yeah, Robert, I saw the 60-minute segment too. I thought it was great. Obviously, it's tailored toward um, people who don't know what they're watching. So some of the stuff we knew, but I thought it was great and really interesting. Um, Rafa Marquez was Mexico's captain at 19. I didn't realize that, but there you go. Say what you will about Rafa.
Because he was laundering all their money.
I could see him being a leader. So in the locker room.
Zero anonymity. It wasn't a FIFA fat FIFA jerk. It was a fat CONCACAF jerk. I guess technically he was FIFA too, but had all the cats. That was one Chuck Blazer.
The Chuck Blazer.
Our fat man in the middle of the mess.
An apartment for his cats. All right, so what's left? We talked about the USA-Portugal 1-1 draw. There wasn't a lot to take away from it. Portugal obviously didn't send their strongest squad. We sent a fairly youthful squad, but Weston McKennie looked pretty good. I mean, that's the biggest takeaway, I think, not only because he scored, but because he looked good. And I thought that we came out, we were high pressing. We came out with a lot of energy, a lot of urgency. And it for once, I didn't feel miserable watching this team. I felt happy and hopeful. I know we're a long way away from actually doing anything and playing in a real game, but yeah, it was interesting to see. I just had this thought. We're going back to, we talked about the possibility of this NIT type tournament that US Soccer apparently is talking about doing. That we thought it was a big joke. We were making the joke, but I just had this thought. If it's a real tournament, would that allow us to cap tie guys?
That's a good question.
If it's not just a friendly, if it is a real tournament with a real trophy, and is there a way, would that be a route to ensure that we could cap tie certain players that we are interested in doing so, like Cameron Carter-Vickers, who played today? That just popped into my head. I don't know. But that's something that may make it more enticing for me, because otherwise I don't know if I want to do that. Maybe not.
I mean, I see both sides of it. Like, I understand the people who are really against the idea of this tournament because it's just U.S. Soccer trying to cash in at a time when they shouldn't. They should be punished because they screwed everything up. But much like, and if you guys haven't seen this, go watch John Oliver's discussion of the World Cup before the 2014.
4 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. I can't believe that show's been on this long. It was suddenly occurring
to me. I had the same thought the other day. Yeah.
Where he talks about how crooked everything with FIFA is and how corrupt everything in the system is and how just absolutely ridiculous about everything about FIFA is, and yet he can't stop watching it. If they create this tournament, I'm going to watch.
Yeah,
and if
it's
the games
like cigarettes or something, it's not good for us, but we're going to watch anyway.
If the games are anywhere, I probably won't, travel across the country or something to go watch, because I do have some semblance of dignity here. But
500 miles is as far as I'm willing to go for the He Believes Cup.
I will not spend $100 a ticket and spend $300 on gas. But if it's reasonably close to me, I'm gonna go. Come on, I'm gonna go. It's gonna happen. So yeah, they've got me. I'm a mark here.
It's just kind of sad. It's sad that we are kind of excited about something that we should not be excited about. And then winning it, like here's the dilemma too. You lose it, people go, of course they suck. Look, you win it, people go, it's just the stupid He Believes Cup that you hosted, idiots. Yeah. Don't
get me wrong. It's not that it's not pathetic in a sense. It's really just that, but you could be watching good players play a game against your country. And like I don't, in that regard, to me it's worth watching. I mean, it's sort of like I watched this game today knowing full well it doesn't mean anything. We didn't even have Portugal the man out there.
Yeah.
But I'm bummed.
It was fine. And then we talked about the last thing we talked about was Christian Pulisic's thing for the Players Tribune. Is that the name of that website? The Players Tribune? I'm drawing a blank now. I believe it is. The Derek Jeter operation.
I don't have it open on my computer to say right now.
Very interesting on what makes him good, what makes him tick, and what we maybe need to look at to make sure our guys are developing going forward. So yeah, that was good. I think we've covered it.
Yeah.
We should tell you. I didn't tell you at the start of this show, but you guys know this is USfanTV. We have a website that's USfanTV.com. We do live shows Tuesdays and sometimes Thursdays. And will we do one on Thursday? Even we don't know. We're going to surprise you with that. We do live shows. We have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. They are all USfanTV. We do not like Snapchat. You know the Craigslist thing. We have YouTube, but you know that because you're watching. Click the, I'm thinking it's there, subscribe button. Click that if you haven't. Thank you if you have. Tell your friends to do the same. And turn on notifications because sometimes Chris and I will do like a lunchtime show every once in a while. And those of you who are sitting in class or whatever will get a notification on your phone. And then you can watch us in class and you can get in trouble from your teacher or professor or whatever. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody did that. And we're proud that you got in trouble in class for us. So yeah, and I think that's all the things. I think I just did all the things. Chris, do you have any final words?
I do not. You are done.
All right. Thanks for egging them on there. All right. We'll see you. USA won. Portugal won. The 2022 cycle is underway. You are done.
See you, everybody.